Hey, it's Steve from Minerva here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the newly available menswear patterns from VikiSews. There's 6 patterns that we're going to be looking at in total, and for each one I've picked out my choice of fabric from the Minerva core range that we'll look at in a little bit more detail. Hopefully this will just give you a bit of inspiration moving on to your next project. As a reminder, all of the fabrics and patterns that I'm going to talk about today are available from us and are linked directly below this video for you. If you have a Minerva account, you can click and save them for later. Alternatively, if you don't have an account just yet, it is free to sign up and you'll even get a discount code for your next purchase with us. So jumping straight into it, here are the newly available menswear patterns from VikiSews. Okay, so the first pattern that we're going to be looking at today is the Bernard coat pattern. This is a double-breasted, fully lined coat that features 2 single welt side pockets, a chest welt pocket, 2-piece sleeve construction, and also a single vent along the centre back seam. It's a relatively loose fitting coat, however with the introduction of the side panels keeping the seams away from under the arms, it does offer a slightly more tailored fit, keeping it firmly on the side of being purposefully semi-fitted rather than looking too big. To me, this coat is such a classic design, but it's been updated in just the right places to give it that cool and modern edge. And you can really use that to your advantage when picking your fabric. With a pared back fabric choice, you can really let this brilliant pattern shine, or alternatively, you can ride the wave and go for something a bit more outlandish, with something perhaps like a boiled patterned wool, or even a faux fur. The fabric that I've chosen for this pattern is this fantastic vegan wool effect coating. As with all of the fabrics that I'm going to talk about today, this fabric is part of the Minerva core range. It comes in 17 different colours, and I have chosen this mustard colourway, which is very true to the pictures online. This fabric is super soft. It's quite a bit softer than 100% wool, and although it feels quite light, there's a really good thickness as well as structure, which is going to make it perfect for this pattern. I also know this is a great choice as I've seen some really fantastic coats made with this specific fabric on Minerva. You should definitely check out the tagged posts on this fabric when you have a second. This is a non-stretch polyester viscose blend fabric and comes in a width of just under 60 inches. Next up, we're looking at the Christian jacket. Now this is a casual straight cut shirt jacket with 2 single welt front pockets and 2 flapped gusset pockets on the chest. It's designed to be fastened with snaps on the front placket and the cuffs, but if you weren't confident in doing this, you may be able to get away with swapping them out for buttons and buttonholes, depending on the number of layers of fabric and lining that you're working with, as well as of course your machine's capabilities. I really like the drop shoulders and the curved hem on this pattern. Again, these are really nice subtle touches that just up the look of the final garment, adding a layer of modern style. I also really like the fact that it's fully insulated and lined, giving the opportunity to make something that's super warm for the colder months and with the right fabric choice, wind and water resistant as well. The fabric I've chosen for this pattern is this gabardine twill fabric. It comes in 19 colours and I've chosen this kind of deep mint green variation which has some real pop and vibrance, which is going to make this jacket really stand out. There is a really slight stretch along the width of this fabric, which you can see there. However, it's not enough of a stretch that it's going to interfere with the construction of this jacket. It's a nice and opaque fabric and drapes really nicely, as you can see, which is exactly what you're going to want, considering the extra layers you're going to be dealing with once you include the lining and the internal padding for this jacket. This is another polyester viscose blend with a small amount of elastane, which is giving it that slight stretch, and it's just under 60 inches in width. The third pattern we're looking at is the Jacob hoodie. This is a loose fitting hoodie with a standing collar that continues into the hood. There's a zipper that starts at the chest and zips up to the top of the collar, and there's also 2 inseam pockets at the sides. This is a really cool casual hoodie pattern, and again it just has those little features that these VikiSews patterns do so well. The shape of the hoodie along with the standing collar just offers something a little bit different, and there's a lot of opportunities to create something really individual with your fabric choices here. Due to the off-the-body fit and the standing collar, I think a pretty heavyweight, lower to no stretch sweatshirting fabric would work really well here. That way you'll keep the structure that's intended with the original pattern, and also it will hold up better with that front zip and the pockets over time. The fabric I've chosen for this pattern is this fleeceback sweatshirting knits. Out of a massive 35 colours available, I've chosen this camel colourway, which is equal parts timeless and versatile. There is a slight stretch along both the width and the length of this fabric, with a slightly higher level of stretch along the width. However, it's not an amount where it's going to impact the creation of this sweatshirt. You don't want to be having a fabric that has too much stretch, but you do want just the right amount to ensure maximum comfort, which is going to be the most important thing when it comes to making a hoodie. This fabric is really soft and comfortable on the outside, and of course on the inside as well, you've got that fleece texture. It's a polyester cotton blend, 30% being polyester, so the fabric is nice and stable and should stand up to a decent amount of wear. Next up is the James trouser pattern. This is a casual, straight-fitted pair of trousers with wide elastic cuffs, mid-thigh cargo pockets and slash pockets at the side. There's also a faux fly and some decorative tabs, which add some really nice detailing here. Again, this pattern is super cool and super modern. There's also some really nice versatility with the pattern, as you could go for a fabric like a heavyish cotton to stay along that cargo pants look. Alternatively, they pair really well with the Jacob hoodie that we've just discussed if you were matching up the fabrics there. The reason that I like this pattern so much is I find that there's a lot of formal trouser patterns out there, and there's also a lot of really simple elasticated jogger type patterns out there. But in between that, there really doesn't sit that much. This pattern really fills that gap, not only giving you something that's going to look brilliant, but if you're just getting into making clothes, it's going to give you some fantastic transferable sewing skills in the process. For this pattern, I think it would look really good in that same camel sweatshirting that we discussed for the Jacob hoodie, but another fantastic option is this heavy cotton twill. The fabric comes in 17 colours, and I've opted for this rust colour, which again is very true to the website photos and has an understated vibrance to it. This is a non-stretch fabric which works perfectly with the pockets and the other details of this pattern and really leans into that casual cargo pants look. There's a bit of weight to the fabric and some good structure which suits this pattern down to the ground, as you do want to make sure that you keep some of that body once the elasticated cuffs and waist are inserted. The fabric is 100% cotton, so nice and straightforward to sew, and is just under 60 inches in width. Pattern number 5 is the Marc t-shirt. This is a pretty straightforward t-shirt pattern with a loose fit and a straight cut. Much like the other top half patterns that I've spoken about, this pattern features a drop shoulder and the neck is finished with a band which you can either do in a lightweight ribbing or use the same fabric as the main body of the t-shirt. A good fitting t-shirt is a must-have in a wardrobe, and this one appears to fit the bill, so it's a great option if you're looking to have a t-shirt pattern in your ready-to-go pattern pile. It's also a perfect choice if you're new to sewing clothes or stretch fabrics, as there's not too many pieces that you'll be juggling around with. The fabric that I've chosen here is this PK stretch knit fabric. There are 15 colours to choose from, and I've opted for this sky blue, which is a true classic. There's a really nice texture to this fabric, which is what you'd expect from a PK, which is utilised a lot in polo shirts. This will give your final garment a bit more of a luxury feel and move it away from the standard t-shirt that you might just be able to buy in a shop. It has a smoother texture on the inside of the fabric, which is great for comfort, and is a nice medium weight, which I think is the perfect middle ground for a t-shirt. Too light and it will lose its shape too quickly, and too heavy and you could create an overly structured boxy t-shirt. This is a 100% cotton fabric, and there's a pretty substantial four-way stretch here, meaning that there's a stretch not just along the width, but also along the length of the fabric. Our final pattern today is the Oliver trouser pattern. These pleated trousers are semi-fitted and have a nice taper towards the hem, which is exactly what you want to offset that increased body that you're getting from the pleats at the waist. This pattern features a classic front fly with a hook and eye closure, side slash pockets, and it's shaped at the back with darts, as well as those pleats at the front. Again, this is a classic design with some really nice modern touches, and it's great to see because it's much needed when it comes to men's patterns. Any suiting fabric would be perfect for this pattern, but I also think that something like a relatively heavy crepe or a medium weight linen would be perfect. I wouldn't go too heavy with the fabric because I do think a lot of the detailing, things like the pleats at the fronts, would work best when there's a good flow and a drape to the fabric. The final fabric of our collection today is this recycled polyester twill suiting in this amazing dusty pink, which is one of 5 colours that are available. Recycled polyester is essentially identical to other forms of polyester in terms of its durability and quality, but it takes around half of the energy to produce, and by recycling this material, it reduces the amount that can sadly end up in landfill. This is a really nice soft fabric with an excellent drape, which will be perfect for these trousers. One thing you do want to bear in mind though is to be careful when it comes to pressing, especially with the pleats, as this is a polyester, and with an overly hot iron you run the risk of scorching or burning your fabric. This is a non-stretch fabric, and like the other fabrics, it's just under 60 inches in width. And that brings us to the end of our pattern overview. Looking at everything together, I am a massive fan of this collection. They're all really cool looking patterns, and I love the fact that each one goes with at least one other pattern in the collection. It's a one-stop shop for your next outfit. Remember, all of these patterns and fabrics I've spoken about are linked below this video, so it's nice and easy for you to find them. Let us know what you think of the patterns and fabric choices in the comments below, and don't forget to post your makes to Minerva so we can see your take on each of these patterns and how you're using these fabrics. Thanks for watching and have a great day.